with me coming at you. I don't know if just being on the sidewalk end of that'd be kind of scary. So I have a little question about the placement of that. I do really think it is slowing people down. And I also think there seems to be less traffic. Maybe people are going Harkness. I'm guilty of driving on the wrong side of the road at Gatehouse. And the other way out of the neighborhood is to go down Main Street. I know you had a water main break down there. And I saw it was on the wish list. I think there's a lot of traffic on Main Street, especially students coming and going. I see a whole bunch of hubcap covers there. So that's my 2 cents worth, but it is better. It really is better, Becca, believe me. I've had 2 dogs sitting in the street. Bailey, knock on wood, has not been hit yet. Mike, did you have something to say? Oh, yeah, Mikey backing out of the driveway. Somebody flipped her off today. I'm finally figuring out how to negotiate those bumps in front of the house. But yeah, she sat there. Well, I don't know why the guy did that, but that wasn't nice. But that's not your fault, Guilford. And I thought you guys said you were going to do the other half of the Heatherstone this year. That's what somebody told me. Thank you.
I think that was the game. That was the desire to try to do them all one after the other, but the list didn't make Heatherstone didn't make it on the list this time.
Wow. What about Main Street?
Main Street is probably going to be done next year, or if we actually get all the work we have to do on that section of Main Street done.
Yeah, just that one section before the bridge, between Southeast and the bridge, right? That's where the water main break. That's terrible. It's almost as bad as Gatehouse.
We have a water main issue there and a sewer issue there we need to resolve. So we're trying to get those resolved before we pave them again.
Right.
And Lynn, I really appreciate with the taxes. We have no commercial tax base here. 5%. The other towns, surrounding towns that have better roads have much stronger commercial. And I don't agree with raising the taxes on the commercial. That's just going to drive more commercial out of here.
Yeah.
But thanks again. I really appreciate and if Don DeGroot's still on there, Don, I haven't seen you for 10 years. You look great.
Jerry Hayes, you're already unmuted. Please go ahead.
Huh?
Oh, I didn't raise my hand again.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to go on to.
Okay. I never lowered it.
Okay.
All right. Sorry
And
about
I think
that.
we should go to Bernard.
Yes, Bernard. I'm asking you to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, so thank you for this very informative presentation. Thank you for using SeatClickFix and Amherst Connect. I have 2 requests. I am a big fan of well-designed roundabouts. Please consider doing more in appropriate places. And the one I've mentioned before is the big intersection of Main Street and Southeast or Northeast Street. I know it's complicated. It's next to the school. It's got the sewer and the other stuff there. But it would be a beautiful place to put it someday in the future. Consider that. My second request is for the section just north of that, the southern section of Northeast Street. Everyone who lives here continues to think the speed limit is ridiculously high. So please consider some way of eventually lowering that to 30 or 35. Thank you very much.
I'll fly through there.
Thanks for joining us, Bernard. Emily, please go ahead.
Hi, I live on Alpine Drive, and my experience with the circle at the end of Alpine on Heatherstone is I don't find that the traffic has slowed down from my observation. I also have seen that like the school bus has a difficult time getting around it, so it has had to go cut across in the wrong way because it's just too long to get around, I guess. And I also noticed that people aren't recognizing it as a circle. So they aren't yielding on those yield signs. So I'm usually in a circle, how I understand it, and maybe I'm not remembering it accurately, but it's sort of you go to the circle, and if there's somebody in the circle, you let them continue, and then you go in after them. Well,
Right.
I'm at the circle and I'm gonna go around, but this car on Heatherstone is used to not, a circle not being there, and they zip right on by and
T-bone.
give me a dirty look. And so I don't trust that they're gonna treat it like a circle. I don't find that, I haven't seen anybody slow down at the yield sign to see, you know. Down the circle.
It's maybe
so-
a little bit more.
Oh, I think that was that slow driving. The way I have noticed it slows down is that people who are going to be either turning into or out of a side street onto Heatherstone, then I noticed that a car has to really slow down and go around the circle. And the one at the end of Alpine is you have to really kind of almost curl around a little bit more and then swivel back in order to get onto. It's just a little bit, but I noticed that the wheels have to really do a quick right twist to get onto Alpine from the circle. And that's all. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Having gone over and driven that and watched other people, I've experienced a lot of the same. Aaron Buzel, go ahead. Please unmute. There you go.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just more about the roundabouts. In principle, I think they're a great idea for speed control, much better than humps or bumps or anything like that. Unfortunately, I feel like because these were done so that they could be removed if they didn't work. I live on Heatherstone opposite Birchcroft, so I go through all three of them, and then I've got a stretch where there's nothing. And, you know, you can go through those things with barely having to touch your steering wheel. And
Not true.
I think if,
What are you driving?
now I have Subaru Forester, makes me a good Amherst resident. Coming towards Pelham Road a little bit more, but some of them, I can see what happens is if you travel it regularly, you can get through them with barely having to slow down. I would imagine if those were bigger, actually, so that when you go through it, you have to go around something as opposed to just barely kind of turning your wheel a little bit. If they were more like other roundabouts, I think they might be more effective. I realized that doing them that way for an experimental project would have raised the cost really significantly, but I think they could be better designed to be more effective. Living on the other side of them, my sense, and I know this is half a project, is that I think people do slow down, and then when they get through them, they're ready to go. And I think the speed of cars going by my house has probably increased. It's just an observation. I didn't do any study, but it probably increased because of the roundabouts. So I'm looking forward to more roundabouts, completion of the project. One thing I wanted to mention that happened to me the last time we had the snow. It wasn't really plowable snow, but it was enough to cover everything. There is a storm drain. Now it's painted white on Heatherstone down towards Pelham Road that really sticks out from the curb. And with the snow and a car coming the other way, I was trying to stay close to the curb, wasn't sure where the curb was, and all of a sudden, bang, I lost a tire on that storm drain. So I don't know if there's some way of working that curb so at least, you know, you wouldn't hit it sharp on, that there could be more asphalt kind of blending into it or something. So I think that, yeah, that's what I had to say. Thanks.
Thank you. We have 3 more hands. actually two. I'm going to go to Greg Fenstad and ask you to unmute. Greg, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I live on Aubynwood Road myself, so I drive through Gatehouse and Heatherstone frequently. Gatehouse really, really needs to be on that list somehow. With Heatherstone, with these new roundabouts, I found that the dividers leading into the roundabouts, especially with the winter, make those roads turning onto the side roads very, very hard. Because the plows are not able to get in the center. Similarly, the sidewalks, people are not used to them, and they are the exact same color as the road. You do not see the curb, especially at night on rainy nights. I have literally run up onto there going through the roundabouts at a low velocity, and suddenly realize, oh crap, I'm on the sidewalk. Can we please do something like paint the edge of the curb yellow so that it sticks out and people can see it? Those are the main concerns with that. I do not think going forward we need having a roundabout at every single side street is very conductive. It, as people are saying, it doesn't really slow down traffic a lot, only a little bit and only for a moment, unless you're someone who's actually conscious and want to be good for the neighborhood. It's the major intersections where the roundabouts are actually truly functional, not on just a normal little side street. That's my feelings on how that should be looked at going forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gordon, I'll be right back, but I'm going to go to Valerie. Valerie, yeah, please unmute.
I think you asked me to unmute. I'm not sure you asked.
Actually, no, I want Valerie to unmute. Valerie, can you unmute? It's on your lower left-hand side usually. Gordon, we'll go ahead with you while we're waiting for Valerie.
Thank you. I live on Echo Hill Road, at least for maybe only a couple more months. I really like the roundabouts. I really like the obstruction at the intersections. When I come to my road from Pelham Road, which is the most often way that I approach my neighborhood, I very carefully look up Echo Hill Road. I look what's coming toward me, and I don't say where you heard this, but I take a left before the triangle at the bottom of Echo Hill Road. The thing that really I would love to see is the same triangles without the dot in the middle. And I don't know if it's legal to have something like that without the dot in the middle. I call it the dot, the little teeny tiny circle that the only way to take a left and use it correctly, you have to slow down to about 2 miles an hour. But it really, I think the triangles on either side of it are the things that are going to slow down the traffic. It's not the people making a left turn onto Echo Hill Road or the left turn off of Echo Hill Road. or the other ones. Those I'm sure are what would cause bus drivers and trash trucks to have the hardest time, and probably snow plows. But if the center part was removed, you could, I might actually have used it mostly correctly.
Okay, thank you.
And that's my comment. Now, I don't know if you can legally do it that way, because I know what a roundabout is and the theory behind it.
Okay. Something to ponder. Valerie, you seem to have trouble. Now you're unmuted, so go ahead. Valerie? You're unmuted. Do you need to turn your sound up? Valerie, I'm trying to figure out how to help you. You are unmuted. We cannot hear you though.
You lower your hand.
Ah,
That won't help her, but it will
no.
help us know who we're.
Okay. Valerie? All right. While we're waiting for Valerie, are there any other final comments? Robert, go ahead. I unmuted you. You have to unmute.
Next time, mute me when I'm done talking.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I second the motion about putting paint on the curbs. I've done that also, hit the sidewalk. And I was wondering, I think I talked to Guilford about this. We're gonna get our street light back at the bottom of, I think that would help at the bottom of Auburnwood and Echo Hill. Heatherstone. Yeah, where do I live?
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, mute me, please.
Okay.
I do have to
Valerie.
turn my wheel pretty hard to get around those, so that's why I said, what are you driving? I thought it was muted.
Thank you. Valerie, we heard you, so go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't use Zoom very much and I have to stand outside to get internet. So I'm at the corner of Adams Street and Heatherstone in front of the first roundabout, which is put in correctly. And I do think that what it does slow down is people turning onto the roads. I don't think any of these roundabouts going from Pelham to Stony Hill slow down. Cars that are just going through Heatherstone, they're not turning into the neighborhood. Frankly, I think what really slows them down is the potholes after that, more than the roundabouts. And then in the other direction, that first roundabout closest to Stony Hill, that does slow people down going straight. But as the roundabouts get more centered, they don't really impact the speed, which I think that was the main purpose, was to slow people driving through the neighborhood, not the neighbors that live in the neighborhood. So mainly the people on Heatherstone. And the second thing is the sidewalks are really difficult to see at night. And I agree, there needs to be some sort of paint on there. I have literally fallen forgetting that they're there in the dark, or just because I can't see where to step up. They're so dark. So that is two things, and that I would love to see the cones get taken out of here because they're sort of an eyesore. I do like roundabouts. I think that if they had put less, if you had just put one in front of my street and then a few blocks away, not on every block, and they were big enough, then the people would have to actually turn their car to get around them if they're running through the neighborhood. And then by the time they picked up, they'd hit another one. But one after the other at every block seems a little excessive to me. The other thing is now that Amity Street is blocked off, Lincoln Avenue is where people are being forced to turn. Can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And that road is really dangerous. And
Yep.
you got to get that one fixed because you're forcing people to turn onto it. And I am literally putting my hazards on as I'm driving down that road because I will not ruin my car over that. The other thing is I know that if we report a lot of potholes, Guilford's always been great about getting them filled. But I think other people should know you can also, if you damage your car, the town will have to pay for the damage. So at least that's the way it was in the past. The only other thing I want to talk about that's not about and the sidewalks are wonderful. I think sidewalks should be in every town in Massachusetts, and I never really understood why they weren't. I don't know why District 2 is the only group that doesn't meet in person. I think it would be really nice for neighbors to be able to physically see each other and be able to talk, because you all are able to talk to each other, but we can't communicate between each other. And I think at least a hybrid should be the way we go. I went to a District 4 meeting at the police station. It's free to use that meeting room. And then I just have a bunch of other questions about meeting rooms and some general things about the town that's not really related to the neighborhood. So I guess that would be at a town council meeting that I might go and do that. Is that correct?
You're always welcome to come and make public comment. We don't, council meetings are a lot more formal because of open meeting law. I mean, we still have to obey open meeting law here, but we can be a lot less formal. It's interesting. We've had meetings in person. We had one that was also hybrid, and it turned out that the people that were not in the room had a hard time hearing people who were
In the room.
town hall.
Right. I think the problem is like when the emergency meeting for the library came up, you had over 200 plus people and you didn't get a room for that. And I think the council members, or even you 3 or 4, you town employees, are able to communicate with each other. Let's move this along. Let's get to the next person. You're able to communicate with each other. And I don't think the townspeople, now that we don't have town meeting anymore, can't talk to each other during these sort of meetings. And when I went to the District 4 meeting, or I think it's Pam Rooney's meeting, that room was packed. They had snacks. The whole room was filled up. People got to talk to each other. And by the way, the AUD business, it's not really a great thing that's going to bring in a lot of housing, because that's going to force homeowners to become landlords. And you have to have it on a foundation. You have to bring water and sewer, and you have to get electric hookup. And you're talking about 50, 60 grand just to get that done. And then you have to build something. So until either the lots get split smaller, you're not going to really encourage people to build ADUs. As you know, I live in an ADU, and it was no cheap endeavor. Luckily, I did most of it myself, and it took me 3 years to do it. But you're never going to get ADUs being built by homeowners unless they're very, very well off, or you're going to get people that are developers, and that's the way that's going to go. So the town should really think about smaller lot sizes, because then it would take the burden off of the taxpayers, and you would bring in more revenue from having more parcels. So that's all I wanted to say. I know it's after 8:30, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Meg, you have your hand up. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute, and I think we're going to end with this comment. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. I just want to say thank you again. I wanted to second the comments we heard earlier about reducing the posted speed limits wherever possible, including Heatherstone would be great. But I meant to say that earlier and forgot, and really feel like that would maybe slow some people down. Maybe not everybody, but could be helpful overall. Thank you.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Meg.
Thanks. I want to really give a serious thanks to Guilford and Jason for joining us tonight. This has been, first of all, an extremely well-attended meeting. And your presentation was excellent. We all aren't satisfied because we still want our roads fixed, but I think you've brought greater understanding to the complexity and the financial reality of this. Pat, final words?
I would love to see us have an in-person meeting. So that's something that Lynn and I can talk about. I miss the interaction that's more direct as well. And I think collaboration is more likely to arise from actual physical interaction than when we're on Zoom. So anyway, thank you, everybody who's come here tonight, and I wish we could automatically fix it. I'm going to encourage folks who are thinking about it. We need people for the planning board and community members for the planning board and the zoning board of appeals. We need resident members of the finance committee. So go online, look at the committees that need you. Because Valerie and others, that's a way of staying connected to the larger community as well. And I encourage each and everybody to think about how can I get involved in the role I have right now simply as a resident. And I don't know, I'm going to encourage you to really think about that.
Okay. Thank you and have a good evening.
Yeah, take care. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Guilford.